Hey guys, welcome back to another day, another Canada vlog. We had a sleep in as we were up late last night playing some of the hostel board games with Dennis before he headed off on the rest of his trip. So we had a later start to the day. We were going to check out a few of the other lakes around Jasper today. Since the last couple of days had been so full on and had a lot of walking in them, we were going to keep it pretty relaxed today. We headed off to Maligne Lake, which is about an hour out of Jasper. Tristan accidentally got a little bit distracted with the beautiful scenery, so we missed our turn off quite early on in the drive. And both of us in the front seat did not realize we'd missed our turn, so we did a very long, very unplanned scenic drive up north a little bit further. We didn't actually realize until about 30 minutes into the trip that we had missed our turn, so we had to turn back and do that whole trek all the way back down. It added about an hour onto the drive, but it wasn't a waste of time. The scenery was just stunning, and plus we weren't really in a rush today, so it worked out pretty well. We saw some mountain sheep on the side of the road, which was so awesome, and stopped to check out this beautiful little oasis on the side of the highway. It didn't have a name, but there were hot springs coming from the mountain next to it, and the water itself was so green and clear. It was just stunning. It honestly reminded me of Emerald Lake that we saw in Lake Louise because it had that similar green tone to it, and I do wonder if it was from glacial water coming from the mountains above, because there are surrounding mountains all around. But it was crazy because the water on the opposite side of the lake was normal, but this one was just this stunning, vibrant green. It was gorgeous. I can't even begin to find the words to describe it. It was just absolutely stunning. So we drove all the way to Maligne Lake after the detour, and we were super happy to see that it was almost completely thawed out. We thought it'd be frozen over, as a couple of people from the hostel had said it was still quite frozen when they had visited it a few days ago. It was, however, still super chilly here. The lake was beautiful, and we had wanted to do this cruise to Spirit Island when we were booking the trip, but it wasn't running for another week, so we just missed it. But that was fine. We still got to see the beautiful lake itself unfrozen, which was such a plus. It was honestly so crazy looking at the last remainder of the lake, the bit that was still a little bit frozen, because it was turning into a bit more of a slushy texture. But because it was still fairly frozen on the top, you could see the water creating little ripples through the ice, making these little waves under that slush. It looked so cool. I actually haven't seen anything like that before in my life, so this was so cool. I actually stood there just looking at it for a little while going, this is amazing. I was in such awe about it. Ness and Tristan went on a small 3-kilometer hike around the lake, but I wasn't feeling up to it today. I was still feeling quite fatigued, so I opted to stay and have my lunch in the car and take a nap for a bit while they did the walk around. We also visited Maligne Canyon. We stopped over on the way back to Jasper, and it was absolutely incredible to see how the water flow has carved out this gorge. There were lichen growing on the rocks, giving it that orange colour. Plus, how cool is this? The water spray from the intense water flow has actually changed the surrounding environment, creating it with more moss and thick greenery, as opposed to if you head out further away from the canyon. We walked to the 4th bridge and back, which was about a 40-minute walk return for us. Walking back up the slope was a trek for me today. Honestly, I was just feeling so lethargic. Tristan was a gem and walked and waited with me at different points. We drove back to Jasper and had dinner. Today's dinner was dumplings and fried rice with some veg. The dumplings were more like pumplings. That's what Tristan and Ness named them, because they were all mashed potato with the slightest, minutest bit of bacon. It was all potato, so we named them pumplings, and they weren't the best because they were a bit mushy. We spent our last night in Jasper playing pool at the bar next door to our hostel. All we had to do was buy one drink, and we had unlimited rounds of pool, so we utilised that and played for a couple of hours, which was so nice. And that's all we did today. Okie dokie. Today we started the day off with Athabasca Falls, so we didn't get a chance to see this on our way into Jasper, so we thought definitely check it out on our way out. So we stopped over at the falls. It's about a 20-minute drive out of town. The falls were absolutely incredible. The amount of glacial water flowing down this river was insane. The power behind the water was immense. There were signs all around warning people not to step onto the rocks because if they slipped, they'd die almost instantly from hypothermia, which was a bit barbaric. And honestly, I was happy staying safe and sound on the platform. I was not getting anywhere near that freezing cold water. It was such a great morning. The sun was peeking through at some points and it reflected the most beautiful soft green tone on the glacial water flowing down the Athabasca River. We stopped on the way back through town to pick up a spinach and feta twist, also known as a spanakopita, for Ness and I because I was a bit peckish and the spanakopitas were just calling my name. They're so good. On the drive over to Kinney Lake and Mount Robson, we actually stopped over at this amazing falls. It was so beautiful. It was a tiny little hike down, only about 5 to 10 minutes and very, very easy and flat. But it was just beautiful and a great way to stretch our legs. We'd been in the car for a couple of hours by now and we still had a couple of hours to go. So it was a beautiful stopover. It was very spontaneous. We just saw the sign on the side of the road and the waterfall was just beautiful, tiny but stunning. And the water was so blue, guys, like I can't even describe the clarity and how blue it was. Oh, stunning, just stunning, honey. As we were driving towards Mount Robson, we did go through a bit of a storm, but thank God we came out the other end. I'm not a fan of driving in rainy, stormy weather, can I tell you? We stopped at Mount Robson, which was a must-see on the drive back because it's the highest mountain in British Columbia, standing at 3,900 meters, and we wanted to hike part of the Berg Lake trailhead to Kinney Lake. The full trailhead isn't open until July due to the extensive avalanche risks and the maintenance on the trail as well, but that was fine for us. We were really keen to just see Kinney Lake as it was only a 4-kilometer hike as opposed to 23 kilometers to Berg Lake with an 800-meter incline. Just let that marinate for a minute. Like, that is insane. So no thank you. The Kinney Lake was named after the first man to climb Mount Robson in 1908. However, he actually didn't make it all the way to the top. He made it to Lake Kinney. That's why they named it after him, which I thought was pretty cool. So the first man to actually successfully climb Mount Robson was in 1913. And the trail's absolutely stunning with the beautiful river flowing from the lake down the mountains surrounding. It's just gorgeous. We could actually see Mount Robson on different points during the hike. It's so tall and it's absolutely covered in snow, which is a given. It's so high up in the sky. The water was insanely clear and so blue. Like, what the heck? It was absolutely spectacular. I couldn't help myself but photograph it the whole way up. The trail itself was pretty steady all the way up as well. It wasn't an exhausting hike by any means, and I definitely recommend it as like the lake itself was absolutely beautiful. The water at the top of the lake has an incredible vibrant blue to it, and it's so clear. Honestly, I couldn't take my eyes away. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I definitely didn't want to leave. We had a snack in the car when we got back and noticed this dinosaur sitting on the bridge post. It was so beautiful. It actually brought tears to my eyes, guys. Attached to the dinosaur was a message about this boy who had been missing since 2018. His name is Ryan Stuckter, and his family has made this dinosaur to share the boy's story and show how loved he is. So as travellers come by and they pick up the dinosaur, they take it with them on their travels, and if they want to, they can put him somewhere else for another person to pick up the dinosaur and learn about Ryan's story. You can also take a photo and post it, and then the barcode shows all the places that the dinosaur has been in the last 6 years. It's really, really beautiful, guys. Honestly, it was so lovely. So that's what we're doing. We're going to bring it along with us and we'll pop it somewhere else that we end up visiting while in British Columbia. We arrived at the motel in the late afternoon around 5 p.m. The weather had cleared up so much. It was such a beautiful sunny evening. We were upgraded to a bigger room as well, which we were so stoked about. And guys, get this. It has a kitchen. Oh, just take a moment. Oh my God, this was such great news. The resort we're staying at in Clearwater is super beautiful. Our room is surrounded by trees and a little water fountain sits nearby, so it's really lovely listening to the water trickle down. I love the mountains surrounding the town. It's just so gorgeous. The town of Clearwater is quite tiny and it's not a main hub for tourists because it is a very small town. Like when I say small, I mean small. The grocery shop's literally 2 minutes walk away. We went and got some grocery supplies and made dinner. We're having butter chicken and some rice and veg. Loving this rice and veg at the moment. I needed some vitamins in my diet at this point. And we were super proud of ourselves whipping up a beauty like this in our tiny kitchen. We went out and played some pool because this place actually had a pool table, which was so awesome. So we definitely got our fill of that. And then we went back to the room and had a chilled night. As we finished off the night chilling out, we watched The Office with some tea and bickies. The life, right? The life, I tell ya. The biscuits were so cute too. They had the Fairmont Castle carved into the chocolate, which was so cool. Oh, I think it's the Fairmont Castle. Waking up today to the most beautiful sunny morning was honestly so uplifting. Finally, the sun was shining strong and she was holding strong. And the day was so warm too. I was so stoked to see the sun this morning, guys. So stoked. Particularly this morning because we were going to be getting wet. We had a bit of brekkie and then we walked over to the office for the whitewater rafting. That's right. I'm doing whitewater rafting. Wish me luck. It was only a 5-minute walk away, so it took no time at all. When we arrived, we got suited up in our wetsuits, fleeces, and waterproof jacket. It's still cold, so we definitely needed all that gear. The water we're going down is snow water, so it's absolutely freezing. And Nessa's shoes had little holes in them where the pinky toes sat. It was absolutely hilarious seeing her toes stick out the sides. I was cracking up. We were driven to the starting point and given the debrief on what to expect. It was a grade 5 level, so the water was choppy, to say the least. It was insane, honestly. We were hit hard at the start. The waves were enormous and it was like getting hit with the tidal waves. It was crazy. I got put on the front because the others all wanted to go behind, and that really freaked me out. We didn't bring along a GoPro, unfortunately, so I didn't get to video the actual experience, but I got some photos of the water rafting itself. We also stopped at a waterfall along the way, which was really beautiful, in Candle Creek, called Candle Creek Falls, and it was coming down there like crazy hard. There's been a lot of snow water and rainfall lately to the waterfall and to the river. That's what's causing all of this high levels and really choppy grade 5 level water rafting. The photos were from further down the stream, so it only was about a grade 2 or 3, and I'm telling you guys, the level 5 was insane. This whole experience was absolutely amazing. I definitely recommend it if you guys come to Clearwater. We were absolutely famished after our rafting, so we went and got changed back at our motel and then went to the local cafe in town, which actually an Aussie couple on our tour, like our rafting tour, recommended to us highly. Tristan got a sandwich from the menu, and of course I'm a bakery girl and letting loose on this trip, so I ordered the cinnamon bun with cream cheese frosting, and Ness and I shared that together because it was huge. It was like the size of my face, but so delicious. Afterwards, we went to Spahat Falls. We did some laundry and then went to check out the falls after, which was only about like a 10-minute drive out of town, so it really didn't take long to get there. The sun began to like peek through the clouds again, which was really nice, and to have some sunshine back. And we walked the 5-minute trail to the falls. We actually got a bit lost. I didn't realize the trailhead went to the top of the falls, so it was actually below us. So we actually began to walk the forest loop and soon realized we weren't walking closer to the falls, but instead further away because we could hear it in the distance. So we semicircled back and walked to the edge of the canyon and got a great view of the beautiful falls. It was incredible seeing how the landscape had been carved out over thousands of years, from volcanic rock to glaciers, and now with the water flowing, it's created this immense waterfall and river connecting into Clearwater River, which was in the distance there, which is actually what we spent the morning rafting down. In the early evening, we actually played some mini golf. I wanted to see Mole Falls, but Tristan and Ness really wanted to have a chill afternoon and just try out the mini golf that our accommodation supplied. So we headed back into town and rented some golf clubs to play from the owner of the resort. He's so lovely, honestly. He did tell us that the course hadn't been maintained as much as he'd like it to be, and we didn't mind at all. But I mean, when he said it hadn't been maintained, there were a few puddles, but the course was so cute and it was actually a lot of fun to just muck around. We didn't bother keeping score or anything. It was just really nice to just kind of smack a ball around the place. It didn't take us long to finish, and that's when I kind of convinced the other two. I was like, come on, let's go see Mole Falls. It's our last night here. And I convinced them. So we did end up deciding to go and drive over. It didn't get dark till 10 p.m. here, so we might as well make the most of the evening while it's still so sunny and beautiful. The drive is about 35 minutes out of town. It was a long and unsealed dirt road, however, and that makes me super nervous. I hate potholes with a passion. And there were rocks and boulders actually littered across the road at different points. And I could see why, because up ahead we actually unfortunately came to a halt about 20 minutes into the drive. We were so close. There was only about 10 minutes left of the drive. And the road had been closed off due to a landslide covering most of the way, covering most of the road, and also the road had actually broken off. I guess the river had worn away and eroded it. I flew my drone over so I could actually see what had happened to the road, and it was crazy. You could see the water gushing from Clearwater River down the side, and it obviously, like I said, just eroded it away. So it was a shame we weren't able to actually get to Mole Falls, but I guess it is what it is. The good news was, though, that we actually saw a little adolescent black bear as we were driving back. It's not our first bear sighting, as we've seen a few at different points in the trip, but it was still super exciting to see this one. He actually scurried off pretty quick once he noticed our car a little further in the distance, so I didn't actually get a good shot of him with my camera, but the experience was amazing. He was so cute. We also actually saw a fox as well on the drive back. The road had so much wildlife, probably because no one drives down it because it's collapsed. We ended the evening playing some pool, since it was our last night in Clearwater and probably our last chance to play pool together before we part ways in Vancouver on Saturday. It was an emotional evening. Ness and I were feeling sad to be finishing our leg with Tristan, and the emotions were really hitting me that I won't be seeing him for 15 months. Like, it is just hitting me so hard. But we made the most of the last evening. We even stayed up and watched The Office just to have a little bit of a laugh. And that's all we did today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's daily vlog. Stay tuned for my upcoming travel vlogs I'll be posting on the daily.